Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to yet another interesting webinar of SteelMint Engage 4.0, the Virtual Connect. In these webinars, we have been exploring a gamut of topics covering steel-related commodities and also the supply-demand outlook for 2023. I'm Madhumita Mukherjee, editor SteelMint, your host for the webinar.
And I'm Nishtha Mukherjee, who will be jointly hosting this webinar, which is on the how is the steel industry situation in Ukraine.
A very interesting topic against the backdrop of the current geopolitical scenario. I would also like to thank the Indian Steel Association for extending its logo support for the webinar. Today's esteemed guest speaker is Mr. Stanislav Zinchenko, CEO, GMK Center, Ukraine. We will be taking up audience queries at the end of the session, so requesting all viewers to send in your queries in the chat box. We will take this up in due course of the session. And please mention your name and company name when you send us your queries.
This session aims at assessing the current steel market scenario in Ukraine and how have the developments been in the recent times that have resulted in recovery of steel production since the war broke out last year. We will learn a lot more about the situation there from our esteemed speaker, Mr. Stanislav Zinchenko, CEO, GMK Center, Ukraine. Mr. Zinchenko is also the chair of Committee for the Environment and Sustainable Development of the European Business Association, President CSCMP Ukraine Roundtable. For the last 4 years, he has been providing consulting services for Ukrainian iron and steel companies in sustainability issues, supply chains, capex policy, and market analysis. Mr. Zinchenko has over 15 years of experience in consulting of manufacturing companies. Over to you, Mr. Zinchenko, for your presentation.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I will share my screen. Please let me know if you see my screen and presentation is okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so hello, as was told, my name is Stanislav Zinchenko. I'm CEO of GMK Center. It's a Ukraine-based consulting company focused on European steel market. Thank you for inviting me. I'm going to talk about current situation in Ukrainian steel industry, export-import steel market. So none of the industrial enterprises can fully operate during the war. Ukrainian iron and steel companies had to adapt to war conditions. Many plants are located near the area of active hostilities. You can see it on the map. All major producers located on territory under Ukrainian control continue to work. They're working right now. So the list of operating producers includes such regions as Kyiv, Kryvyi Rih, Zaporizhia, Dnipro, Poltava region. Of course, right now working not so many steel producers. You know that we lost our two biggest steel plants in Mariupol. It's Azovstal and Ilyich. It was 40% of Ukrainian steel production. So I can also say that Ukrainian steel industry, iron and steel industry, is one of the most suffered in the world because of war. In 2013, we produced 33 million tons of steel. After first phase of war and losing Donetsk and Lugansk region, we produced in 2021 23 million tons of steel. So last year in 2022 we produced only 6.3 million tons of steel. We see that war cut Ukrainian steel industry, and from one of the top 10 steel producer country in the world, now we are, so I don't know, we are not in top 10. We are with 6 million tons crude steel production. We are a very small steel producing country. Steel production in Ukraine, despite war, has been increased since the beginning of 2023. It is response to improved energy supplies and good steel demand in European market. So the biggest problem last year on autumn and winter was blackouts in Ukraine because of damage of and constant missile attack on Ukrainian energy infrastructure. So, with start of the printemps, it's go better, and also Europe, as you know, Ukrainian Black Sea ports they are blocked. We cannot export from through seaports. That's why we are dependent from consumption and situation on the European steel market. So better situation on the European steel market and better situation with energy supply lead us to resuming production. You see from figures that month to month we producing more pig iron, more steel, but compared to 5 months of last year, steel production decreased by more than 44%. It's also because of this 2 months of peace with Mariupol steel plants. So loss of such major steel producers is reflected in production statistics. So we see that probably today in May, April, we see our maximum with blocked Black Sea ports and with current market situation in Ukraine. Our two main steel producers in Ukraine now, it's Zaporizhstal, is one of the major steel producers, remain in Ukrainian territory. May was very productive for this plant. Its steel production increased by 62% compared to last year. Also, production results of 5 months are not so impressive because last year this plant could work during January, February without any limitation. Now it's many limitation in Zaporizhzhia because of logistics, because of energy also, and also because of water supply. We'll talk later. But we see the result is quite good, and this plant tried to resume production as much as possible. Second biggest steel producer is ArcelorMittal Kryvyi Rih. Increased also monthly production of pig iron, but production of crude steel and steel finished products decreased. ArcelorMittal Kryvyi Rih remains major exporter of pig iron to European Union, also export pig iron to USA through European Union, export iron ore. While steel supply are probably restricted due to trade policy of parent company, because ArcelorMittal Kryvyi Rih is most oriented on longs. So that's why ArcelorMittal Europe and globally probably not interested in creating competitiveness between its different plants at European market. So that's why ArcelorMittal before war was focused on longs, rebar, on steel end products, and now more focused as a supplier of pig iron, iron ore to open market and to European steel plants of Arcelor. So now we're talking a little bit about our iron ore export. So Ukraine decreased iron ore exports. Ukrainian producer lost Chinese market because of expensive logistics. It's impossible to organize logistics through big logistic with 20 million tons like it was on Chinese market, like it was before war, through European seaports. So as you remember, Black Sea ports blocked. It's only open for grain corridor. So that's why we can export our iron ore only in Europe or through Europe in some MENA country probably, but not in with big amount. So main consumers of Ukrainian iron ore are European countries, for example, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Poland. And what we see is that during first months of this year, European producers increased iron ore import from Ukraine because of increasing steel production. But we also see that these volumes are unstable because market also in Europe unstable. So our iron ore export depend on steel production volume, steel production capacity in Europe, and also, of course, depend on price. Yeah, because our logistic now it's very expensive with iron ore. So it's about iron ore export. Now about pig iron. Ukraine was before war one of the main importer for European Union and USA of pig iron. It was 30%, I think, of all European Union import of pig iron was Ukraine. Also the same with USA. Now it's not so big amount. You see that we increase export of pig iron in May by only 2% year to year. European plants traditionally rely on pig iron supply from Ukraine, but main consumers of pig iron are Poland, Spain, Czech Republic, and we still compete with Russian suppliers of pig iron on European market because such supply from Russia are not banned. So pig iron from Russia not under sanction. That's why it's for us, for example, with our energy cost, logistic cost during war, it's very difficult to compete with Russian pig iron on the European market. But you see that it's not a very big amount. It's only 630,000 ton during 5 months of this year. Yeah, it's mostly, as we told, ArcelorMittal. Yeah, that makes this export. So before war, also Ukraine was one of the biggest producer of slabs for export. We was a big exporter for slabs and square billets. Slabs were produced in Mariupol. Now it's practically we are not on the market. We're losing this market. So when we talk about semi-finished products, it's mostly about square billets. So export of semi-finished products significantly increased in May compared to last year, but in 5 months of 2023, export of semis went down. Last year, May, many plants began resuming steel production. That's why current volumes are quite significant compared to previous year. But loss of Mariupol, as I told you, lead to decrease in slab production and export, and we see it on export figure for 5 months to 2023. As we see, as always, Poland one of the, I would say, main market for us. But you must understand also that when we see in all our export share, Poland 30-35% in different products, it's not mean that Poland as a country or Polish iron and steel industry consume this product. Poland and Romania, because of logistic, now it's main logistic hub for Ukrainian export all over the world. So through Polish seaports, through Romania seaports, we export our goods on global market. Now about flat products. So in May also slightly increased compared to last year. Now is in fact only one big plant produce uncoated flat products in Ukraine. It's Zaporizhzhstal. It exports product mainly to European countries. Also some export to MENA remain. Why it's so? Suspending anti-dumping duty was the main favorable decision of European Union for us. So which also supported export of HRC from Ukraine. So we have good price, good lead time for HRC, and no quota and no anti-dumping. But as you see, how to say, we are not big, how to say, importer. In during 5 months, it's only 300,000 tons of flat products that we exported. It's all amount, not only in Europe. So that's why nobody's scared about our flat export. But as I told you, we have good price, good lead time for Europe. That's why I'm quite optimistic about. Now about long products, very interesting situation. because export of long products increased by 20% year over year. Long products can be produced by 3 operating plants. One of them ArcelorMittal, other it's Dnipro metallurgical plant, and also Kamentstal. So it's 2 small plants. And as I told you, ArcelorMittal Kryvyi Rih can produce more, but not export because it's limited supply to European Union. Main consumers of long products from Ukraine are Poland, Romania, and Germany. Why it's so? And why we see this rising? It's probably also one big part of them. It's wire rod, for example, because European Union banned export of finished steel products, also longs, from Russia and Belarus, and they was a good supplier for European Union. So, and we are partly in long segments, we replace banned Russian and Belarusian export to European Union. So, but in small quantity. So that's why we see some rising of export, but it's very small amount, and only in, how to say, neighbor country, the countries that near us, Poland, Romania, Moldova, first of all. Also, Ukraine is very good producers of tubes, pipes. So what we see is that export of pipes may increased by 22% year over year. Main pipe producer in Ukraine is Interpipe. Its largest consumers of Ukrainian pipe are not only in European Union, also major export destination was always USA. Pipes export depend very on situation in oil and gas industry, which use pipes for drilling. So we see always when increasing of oil pricing, it's improved. We see improving of pipe export from Ukraine. So we see it's high quality, high value export, and you see also countries that are main consumers as Germany, USA, Italy, Poland of our pipe export. Also, Ukraine was big producer of ferroalloys. Situation with ferroalloys plant, it's not very good because they are all near front line, near regions with active hostilities, but they part of plants working during whole year under constant missile and drone attacks, but they still working, not with full capacity. We see that export during 5 months was not so good, not so big. It only 250,000 tons of ferroalloys. But we see that in May increased 3 times year over year, but it's only because of in compared to previous period when near plants was active hostilities and was not possibility to work. But we see a return on the market of Ukrainian ferroalloys. But at the same time, export of ferroalloys can be damaged in nearest time, in the near future, because of collapse of Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant. I'm sure you have heard it from news about this problem, because directly these ferroalloys plants are near, and a shortage of water in region can impact it, and already impacted on production volumes and possibility to work. Now a little bit about import. It's important because Ukraine now rising import of end steel products, finished steel products. It's connected with destruction, as I told you, of 2 Mariupol steel plants that produced HRC also. More than half of flat products is imported from European Union. other from different countries, Turkey, China, and so on. We understand that in future, and right now we see this trend, Ukraine will become net importer of end steel products. Import will be gradually increasing. So when we see rising of import during war, we understand that after war it will rise probably 2 or 3 times. Yeah. And you see comparison, yeah, between 2022 2023. So, and it's high value import. What about our market? So, new reality of Ukrainian market. So, Ukraine was not big steel consuming country always. So, 5 million ton, because before war was our steel consumption in 2021. Most of them, 70% probably, it was longs for construction sector, 30% it was flats. So in 2022, steel consumption in Ukraine was 2 million tons. You see structure of this steel consumption. Yeah, the main problem it's longs. We have no construction activity in construction sector. That's why longs go down in Ukraine. So it's our situation on the market, and no reconstruction work. So theoretically, reconstruction work can improve situation, but no reconstruction works can begin before the end of active hostilities. So companies can't implement investment project because of high uncertainty. That's why we only hope that steel consumption in Ukraine will rise, resume after war. But nobody knows when war will be ended. When we talk about 2023, it's fresh statistic. Only today we prepare it with our partners, biggest distributor in Ukraine, Metinvest SMC. So its consumption in 5 months in 2023 in Ukraine remained almost at level of last year. It's already good news for us. So because many people think that after 1 year of war, consumption will go down, but okay, it's the same level as last year. So it's slightly decreased, but the situation differs by segments. Now there is no shortage of steel products. All market needs are satisfied, in particular thanks to import, as I showed you before. Some trading companies expect that steel sales will increase till end of the year by 10-15% when we will not have if we will not have problems like with Kakhovka or other big catastrophes. So, and also some beginning, we see some beginning of some restoration works, and it's also support steel consumption. Yeah, as you see, that situation differs by segments. While consumption of cold rolled steel, wire rolled and galvanized steel increased, consumption of HRC and shaped structures decreased, and so figures are not so big, but we are, how to say, happy also with this. Now about main challenges. So there are 5 challenges, main challenges for Ukrainian iron and steel industry. First of all, active hostilities and safety of people. Yeah, second, it's that people live in regions where are active hostilities, and it can be deficit of workers on different iron and steel plants. Third, it's logistic problems. So it's a slide because it's a main, I would say, challenge that not give us possibility to produce more and to export also more. So main problem it's blockade of Black Sea ports. Before war, 70% of all our iron and steel export was through seaports all over the world. So what we have now, we have limited railway border crossing abilities. It's not enough, this certain railway border crossing, it's not enough to export all our Ukrainian goods. Also, we see that grain export from Ukraine overloaded all export routes, and iron and steel products, they must compete every day on these logistic routes with grain from Ukraine. Also, after 1 year of war, we see that European seaports don't have free capacity for us. They was not ready, and and only one port has some capacity for us. It's now Constanta from Romania. It's a, how to say, main export door or gate from Ukraine. Also, we're using Gdańsk, it's Poland port from Baltic Sea, to export our goods. Also, we use now Danube River ports, because Danube, it's connect Ukraine with 9 European countries. It's a big, how to say, logistic river for us, so we use the new ports, but depths of Danube is not so big. That's why it's limited also our supply. So logistic, it's one of the main challenge for Ukraine, and only opening of Black Sea ports can support Ukrainian iron and steel industry. From my personal opinion, every month of blockage of Black Sea ports for Ukraine kill Ukrainian economy, and it's a very big structural problem for Ukrainian economy and for Ukrainian iron and steel export. Next, it's new one, yeah, from last month. Explosion of Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant became large-scale environmental disaster. ArcelorMittal Kryvyi Rih last week suspended the production of crude steel and rolled steel products to reduce water consumption. It's a big problem. So experts from Ukrainian Steel Association make assessment that probably it will be minus 80 or 100,000 tons of crude steel production because of this problem in Ukraine. Also, Nikopol ferroalloy plant reducing production volume because of this situation, and Marganitsky and Pokrovsky mining have significant problems with water supply. So we could expect decrease in production of manganese concentrate in Ukraine because of explosion of Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant. And it's the first time such big problem in Ukraine, and nobody know how will industry react on this, and how will be restored this water balance. But as I can also tell that Interpipe tube production, Zaporizhzhstal, Kamenetstal, some mining plants of Metinvest continue to work as usual. So they don't have water supply problems. They have other source of water supply. So it's our new black swan, our new challenge. And it's not winter now, but 40% of energy infrastructure was damaged during 1 year of war, and it caused significant power outage in autumn and winter. Energy supply have already improved because of summer, but risks remain, and energy system not been restored fully, and missile and drones attacks continue every day and every month. So we are all in Kyiv, we live in, but every night and every day drone and missile attacks, and it also go to energy infrastructure. So it's remained one of the main challenge for Ukrainian iron and steel industry, that limit production and export. So Ukrainian steel industry continue to operate in a state of high uncertainty. Since the beginning of the war, Ukrainian steel companies have been demonstrating ability to adapt to any changes. From my point of view, such resilience and such cases of rebuilding supply chain, working during energy supply problem, water supply problem, and so on. So it's nobody probably can show something like we. So we can compare how European steel producers close their BF and steel plants in autumn because of rising of energy price, but for 10 or 20 or 30%, I don't know. But we working more than 1 year during constant bombing and challenge, during logistic costs 5-6 times more, and so on. So we are very resilient. We want Ukrainian steel enterprise continue production and export. We expect that this year Ukrainian steel companies could produce 5.5 or 6 million tons of steel. Nobody can predict in such situation in Ukraine. Yes, it means decreasing of steel production from 4 to 12% compared to 2022. In current conditions, it's a quite good figure. But we understand that all production results are subject to different changes in war situation, logistics, supply chains. Sometimes such changes are unpredictable, so we can only believe and hope for improvement of situation. But as I told you, because of logistic, because of blockage of Black Sea ports, our iron and steel production depend on two main factors. Yeah, it's prices, of course, yeah, and on global market, on European market, and also European steel market situation from production point of view and from consumption point of view. So because we don't have another market as European steel market right now for us. So thank you for your attention. GMK Center is, as I told you, Ukrainian-based consulting company focused on European steel market. Our team all Kyiv-based. We working every day here in Kyiv, working for Ukrainian iron steel industry, working for European international iron steel industry. We are always open for cooperation and can share with you any figures and information. Thank you very much, and I'm open for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Zinchenko. That was a very good presentation. It gave a very good macro view of the current scenario in Ukraine. Steel production, as we understand, has increased since January, but is down, I think, 44% year on year, and could touch 5.5 to 6 million tons by 2023 end. Consumption is flat. You spoke of expensive logistics. You gave us a peek into imports because flat product facilities have been destroyed. 40% of energy infrastructure is destroyed. In short, steel industry continues to operate in a state of uncertainty. So how are the ferrous scrap collection rates in Ukraine? What are the challenges you're facing in terms of ferrous scrap generation and collection? As per recent data, in January to May 23, the collection of scrap decreased by 33.5% year on year. So out of this, exports amounted to, I think, around 77,500 tons. So if you could, give us some additional information on
about scrap. Situation, how looks situation before war in 2021? We collected 4 million tons of scrap, 4 or 5 million tons, something like that, and exported, I think, 600,000 per year. But you must understand that main scrap collecting regions, 50% of our scrap collection was from the regions where was last year and right now war and active hostilities. That's why scrap collection as a process go down and has a huge problem, because also it's not possible to collect scrap during war, and also you understand that military scrap, it's not in Ukraine, is not regulated. situation with military scrap is not regulated. Nobody knows how to deal with them. So last figures right now look like that in this 5 months of this year, it's only 444,000 tons of scrap collection. In May, it's only 77,000 tons. So last year, in 2022, it was 900,000 tons of scrap collection, and I expect that I think this year it will be the same, or 850,000 tons of scrap collection. So it's very small amount, and it's nothing. Yeah, it's not. It's probably, even with such small steel production, it's not enough for our own steel production, not only for export. So that's why Ukraine probably also will import some scrap in future for EAF producers. I don't know now when we will restore our steel production, but now it's a big problem. Some experts, they think that will be possible to collect and to work with military scrap, but it's not regulated. We don't have such technology. I'm not expert in scrap sorting, but I'm sure that is not the same process as with classic scrap. Yeah, so in military scrap there is many additions, many problems, and it's also can be dangerous to work with them. So that's why with scrap situation, probably we will have this year some deficit on the market. Yeah, and steel export from scrap export from Ukraine, I don't know, in May was 20,000 tons. It's also nothing. Yeah, so that's why Ukraine is not more player on scrap market.
But you said that there could be a deficit. So would you be looking at imports this year itself to plug in that gap?
Probably, I don't know, because we understand that domestic scrap, it's cheaper than European scrap, for example. Yeah, so it's and also we see that globally, month by month, more and more country introduce restrictions measures for scrap trade, and we understand that it's global trend, because scrap is not more raw material for steel industry, it's also strategic source for decarbonization of steel industry. Yeah, so for EAF production, for DRI EAF production, and so on. So that's why we only will see rising restriction for scrap export, for scrap trade. That's why it will be a big question, yeah, for scrap collection in Ukraine. So it's a huge challenge for Ukrainian scrap industry. But as I told you, main problem, it's that 50% of all scrap collection regions, yeah, active, it's regions of active hostilities.
Right. Thanks, Mr. Stanislav. My next question to you is on the power situation in Ukraine, and how are these steel mills' capacity utilization being impacted because of it?
You know, it's not so easy to comment such question, because all information concerned to power capacity, power supply in Ukraine is strategic, and strategic information, closed information. Yeah, because it's a goal for Russian missile attacks. Yeah, but what we have seen, the big problems was in winter. Yeah, because when it's a choice to supply in winter people in city with energy or some industry, it's not choice. Yeah, it's a supplying to people. Yeah, energy. So that's why it was a problem for Ukrainian steel producers, first of all EAF producers, yeah, and some iron ore plants. So that was closed winter, but now it's okay. As I know, there is no shortage of energy for steel producers right now, but it's very, very thin. So situation balanced, some small problem can, like for example, with Kakhovka, this Kakhovka hydro energy electricity plant also was a part of Ukrainian energy system, and produced energy for whole Ukrainian market, So probably -1% can impact it, of on Ukrainian. But right now we don't have, as I know, big energy supply problems. Also because of summer, it's not so big consumption of energy in summer, so that's why. And also we have many population now from Ukraine and still going from Ukraine. They are refugees, and it's but when we have minus, for example, 6 or 7 or 8 million people in Ukraine because of war, so it's also not so big, how to say, not so big energy consumption, So when you don't need to supply energy for 6 million people, so probably. But as I told you, it's nobody know. It's not open information about energy supply.
You gave us to understand that consumption has been flat this year so far, and by some indications could rise by 10 to 15% by the end of the year. So what factors could support this slight increase?
You know, what we see that some restoration projects started, some infrastructure we restore some infrastructure. We see direct connection and impact of international financial help to Ukraine in form of grants, in form of macroeconomic help, in other funds, also in form of credit, in form of support of some governments. That when we see this support for restoration project for some cities, for some infrastructures, for some bridges that was destroyed. So, and when we have such support, financial support, we can make some restoration works for our infrastructure and its consumption of steel. Firstly, flat products, so it's directly connected, when we have such programs and money comes to Ukraine, so we can restore, and then we can buy these flat products from European or international market, because we have no Ukrainian production right now. So, and it's always high, it's as you have seen from slide, it's always high value added products, so that we not produce. It was always before war also like this, but now it's also because Ilyich steel plant in Mariupol that produced HRC, not under control, not working.
So because of increased steel consumption that you foresee towards the end of 2023, do you expect the steel exports from Ukraine to drop in the coming months?
You know, as I told you, Ukrainian steel export depend only on European steel market situation right now, and in perspective, depend on will be Black Sea ports blocked or not. So now we see that probably they will block till end of the year. So our export depend only on European steel market situation, European steel consumption situation, and European steel production situation. What I see right now that import in European Union growing from India, from Vietnam, from South Korea, from Japan, from Turkey, production of no. So it means and prices go down. Yeah. So for Ukraine, it means not very good. So it means that our iron ore, pig iron, square billets probably will not be consumed in Ukraine. But we wait and we hope for some restoration of European steel consumption market and European steel production in third and fourth quarter. I'm fully agree with Antonio. That was, I think, Monday with presentation, yeah, by you from Eurofair, Antonio Scamarelli. So that in third and fourth quarter, we hope for some restoration of European steel production and market, and it can support European iron ore, steel producers. So that's why I'm still optimistic with our export. It can be and with our production.
Thank you. You mentioned that ferroalloy exports increased, I think, by around 8% over January, May, but we understand that these dropped 24% in May alone. So any particular reasons behind this?
Yeah, I told you the main problem is that these plants, they are located very near to active hostilities. And some of them located in Nikopol. This city is very near to border with Russian control territory. And during whole year of this war, under constant attacks, artillery, and some others. And also, as I told you, I see that this situation with Kakhovka will lead to, and we see it from companies, from producers, will lead that ferroalloys and manganese producers will cut production and probably stop plants. So I wait that it will go down, our production and export next months. Till water supply problem will be lost. So, but it's first time in Ukrainian history such water supply problem, and we don't know how to lose this problem. We will see. So that's why I'm not very optimistic with ferroalloys volumes production and export next 3-4 months. And when you will see it from month to month, it's not stable. Yeah, it can be in 1 month with nothing, in other months it can be 60,000 tons. Yeah, so that's why it's not stable situation. But when we see with year, yeah, a production, okay, it's still working, we are still alive and resilient, as I told you.
Also, I think destruction to the power infrastructure has also impacted ferroalloys production.
Yeah, ferroalloys and EAF producers, EAF steel producers, are more impacted from power problems and water problems. You see, yeah. So, and also from, when you're talking about EAF, from scrap, potential scrap deficit and problems. So it's a big problem for them. First of all, they are dependent on such factors.
Now, we'll take a couple of questions from the audience. What are your views on European steel industry, as this year demand remained weak, and what is the situation going to be like for the rest of the year? So, and what are the opportunities for exports of billets to the European market?
First of all, I'm sure, and our model, we have big European steel market model that for our consulting services, so shows that this year, 2023, European steel market not weak and demand not weak. It's very stable situation on market, and this year will be, from our prognosis, will be better than last one for European steel industry and European steel market. Yeah. So I don't want to how to say, a little bit joke, cry with many price agency together that every day write in European steel market weak, European steel consumption weak, and so on. I believe only in figures, and from figures I see that European economy is very stable. European real consumption is stable. Yeah, yes, there is some problems in some regions, in construction, in machinery, but other European regions show rising, for example, and also sectors like automotive, yeah, support European steel consumption. So that's why I see that it will be not, how to say, successful and perfect year but it will be better than year before. Yes, of course, we see impact on prices from cheap import, first of all, from Asia, yeah, but also we see some last 3 months, some restoration of resuming of European steel production capacity. So I look on expectation, I look on PMI, and I see that everything go not so bad. Of course, many experts and many steel producers, traders, they expected restocking. And that restocking will push consumption, will push sales, will push prices, and so on. But no, nobody want to make restocking in such macroeconomic situation, and nobody want to make restocking with such level of uncertainty. Yeah, so people working from, how to say, from in just in time, yeah, concept. So, and I understand that I see situation very good. And when we're talking about opportunities for export billets, European market, it depends more not from market situation, from my point of view, but from trade restriction measures and quotas for different countries. Yeah, for example, we see some rising export from South Korea, Japan, Vietnam, and other countries. They're working without restriction, but nobody knows. Probably next year or next months, we will see starting quotas or anti-dumping for these countries. Nobody know. We're living in the world when global trade not exist anymore. It's more and more regional trade and restrictions. Yeah. So that's why I think it's more depend on European trade policy than about European market.
Thank you, Mr. Stanislav. That's all we can accommodate in this session. Hope you'll enjoy this webinar as much as we did hosting it. A very warm thank you to Mr. Zinchenko for your time. Thank you to Nishta Mukherjee too for joining in from Raipur. A big thank you again to the Indian Steel Association for its support. I'm Madhumita Mukherjee, editor, Steel Mint, signing off from this webinar. Goodbye.